Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about the number one scan you should be running if you've got a small account. Okay, there's a certain subset of stocks that you should be focused on if you've got that small account, because right now in this market, these stocks are the best way to grow your account quickly. Hey everyone, Lead Trading with StocksToTrade, Tim Bohen here. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share these videos with your friends. And also, if you like these videos, if you like the pre-market prep, if you like the podcast, all these things we talk about, definitely check out the Steady Trade team. Hit that link below. Check it out. It's a mentorship program where Mike Huddy and I do twice daily webinars every single day, breaking down everything. The coolest thing about it is, I think, that twice a day idea. You know, you're never more than a couple hours away from getting a question answered live. Huddy and I both answer every single question asked, real time. It's a great way to really get in depth in trading. All right. That being said, today we're going to be talking about OTC stocks, okay? If you're not familiar with OTC stocks, we've done a bunch of videos. I'm not going to get too much in depth. You know, they're called over-the-counter stocks. They're the non-listed stocks. We got a bunch of videos that you can check out, or, I mean, just Google, you know, the difference between a NASDAQ, NYSE, and an OTC stock. So there's a lot of differences, but we won't go into that in this video. We got a ton of resources. Check out the feed, check out the blog, etc. So that being said, let's assume you know what an OTC is, you're interested in, you see all these breakouts, you see these morning panic dip buys, you see these gappers as we call them, and right now, and OTCs kind of come and go, but the last 6 months, even 9 months at this point, they have been some of the best performing stocks out there, man. Just so many green days in a row. And what's great about it is the patterns just repeat and repeat. They gap up in the morning, they consolidate sideways, close strong, gap up the next day, and then usually, you know, if they grind up for, you know, multiple days, even sometimes weeks, you can monitor them for that morning panic dip buy. Just great patterns to trade. So now let's talk about how to find them. I'm going to talk you through working on Stocks to Trade, which definitely check out the trial. You know, you get a fully featured trial, all the screeners, you get Oracle, you get access to everything, watch list builders, we got pre-built screeners, as well as you can build custom screeners, or, you know, hey, I'm all about giving back. You could probably follow along and even add this scan to another screening package. As much as I would like to get you on Stocks to Trade, you could probably follow along and emulate it on other charting packages as well. So first thing I'm going to do right off the bat is I'm going to start out, you know, obviously limiting by markets. It's really easy to do in Stocks to Trade. I could just uncheck the listed stocks and the Amex stocks. So NASDAQ, NYSE, and Amex, I uncheck. That strictly gives me the OTC stocks. Now then I'm going to run a scan that's going to give me stocks that are trading real volume, and these criteria may vary for you, and I'm going to tweak a few of them as well, because I'm going to look for stocks, particularly in OTCs, for less than $1, okay? People love the true penny stocks, those 50, 60 cents. Now, I want to be clear, I'm not saying you should ignore $1.50 OTCs or $3 or $5 or heck, there's high priced OTC stocks as well. Typically they're very illiquid, but we're talking about a small account. You know, ultimately, if you got a $500, $1,000 account, you want to buy thousands, tens of thousands of shares of a small stock so that when you catch that 20% move, 30% move, you get your max reward out of it. So always focus on volume. It's roughly midday, so I'm going to crank up my volume to 10 million shares, and we'll run the scan. We'll run it real time, and you'll see how many matches I get. And if I get too many matches, what I'm going to do, considering the fact that, you know, I'm recording at 2 p.m. Eastern, which is a great time to be looking for these gappers, as we call them, I'm going to ratchet that volume up until I get a manageable number of stocks. So now I ran my scan. I've got stocks trading more than 10 million shares and less than $1. And you can see, you know, probably an unmanageable number. But if you pay close attention and you look, I've also got what we call the triple zeros. So we've got, you know, some of these stocks that are 4 1/1000th of a penny or 1/1000th of a penny. And again, that's the great thing about StocksToTrade is I can quickly build these scans, and I love the visual manner. So what I'm going to add is I'm going to add greater than 10 cents just as a way to kind of whittle down the number of stocks I can do. But this is what's great. I've used tons of screening packages through the years. A lot of them are code-based, where you've got like a manual and you've got to type programming code. I love the way StocksToTrade is set up with what I call code blocks. Now, if you're a programmer, you'll probably make fun of me, but that's the way I think about it. And the nice thing is I can just visually see that I'm limited by my markets, my OTCs. Now, my next criteria is more than 10 million shares traded, less than $1, greater than 10 cents. So now let's run that scan again. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. 4 stocks. And what do I got? Right off the bat, I got a mushroom play, which mushroom stocks have been hot, and I've got a crypto play. Beautiful. Look at that. 2 p.m., one quick scan that I built in front of you in 1 minute, and I've got 2 stocks. Now, I know these are in play, so I want to be clear. You might be like, well, Tim, you're familiar with these stocks. But keep in mind, if you were running this scan, you might not be familiar with MMNF or BTSC or ENSE or SYN. That's the beauty of this. You run this scan, and right off the bat, MMNF is, let's bring up that chart. We can see what it is. We can go to the profile, and we can see that, hey, cannabis operation, which they've also got mushrooms. That's a nice thing. That's one of those kind of back burner sectors I want you to keep an eye on is the psychedelics. So with the tools in StocksToTrade, you notice I just double clicked that ticker, showed up on my scan. I only got 4 stocks that I got to go through. I go to the profile tab. I see what they do, cannabis, mushrooms, etc. Then the next thing I'm going to do is go to the long-term chart. And we're going to take a look at this thing. We're going to say, hey, what do we think about this stock? Now, I'm going to look at this and be like, whoa, look at that, pullback over the last few days. I mean, this was $1.30 all the way down to 40 cents. Stock was in play. So now that the beauty of that is now I can start looking for this thing to maybe if it starts perking above 50 cents, get some volume. This may start grinding back up. We've seen these things bounce so many times. So now I've got a mushroom/cannabis stock that has already done that panic and is now basing in the 40 cents that I've looked for a break back over 50. Now let's move on to the other one. I'll break down a couple. So BTSC would be the next one that would be interesting to me. And I can see that this stock, let's look at the long-term chart, is right near the highs. Little red today, but the day I'm recording, markets have been pretty bloody today. Just for reference, I'm recording on February 18th. As I speak, the Robinhood CEO, the Citadel CEO, Roaring Kitty, and many of you may be familiar with Roaring Kitty from Reddit. They're all testifying before Congress. So markets have been pulling back, but Bitcoin has been strong. Just last night, we broke over 52,000. I've got this stock trading 10 million shares, and look at that close last night. Look at that rip into the close. Would not surprise me one bit to see BTSC repeat that pattern. So watch this. Obviously, you're not going to be watching this real time, but with that one quick scan that I built in a matter of minutes, I now got hot sector plays with volume, and if BTSC grinds back to that close, Bitcoin maybe warms up again, and this goes red to green, that's a great potential gapper OTC stock in a 10-cent hot sector, high volume play that would be a perfect setup for a small account. Now, before I wrap this up, back it up if you need to, follow that scan, focus on volume sectors and price range. And then one thing I do want to mention, I don't hear this talked about a lot, and it kind of bums me out because a lot of people don't bring this up. Commission-free trading. Now, pretty much every major broker is commission-free now. That's a great thing. As far as I know, at the time of recording, no broker is doing commission-free OTC trading, okay? Now, I'm hoping that changes. So hopefully by the time you watch this, maybe you watch it in the summer or the fall or next year, we do have commission-free trading in OTC, but I want you to be aware of that because a lot of people get tripped up on that. They think, oh, my broker said commission-free, but again, as of right now, I don't think anybody's commission free, and OTCs are expensive to trade. So that's the one drawback that I wanted you to be aware of. You got that $500 account and you make $100, but you might be paying $20 in commission. So keep that in mind. It's one of the reasons, I talk about listed stocks, NASDAQs, NYSEs a lot. It's because then you do get the commission-free trading. So, but that being said, I think it's a great way to really get these amazing moves. I mean, we've seen 100, 500, 1,000% runners in OTCs. And we've seen, I remember one the other day, I think it was up 800% in one day and then gapped up another 40% the next day, which I'm too dumb to do the math, but I think that's like, 1,500% because it was 40 on top of 1,000 in 24 hours. That's the potential in these stocks. That's why I want you focusing on OTCs. And Stocks to Trade is built from the bottom up to scan for all these low price stocks and markets. So check out the trial, get it, run it, test it. I think it's the best platform out there for low price stocks, and we'll see you on the next video.